Hello everybody, it's Mike from Fishing the Mid-South, and today I have for you 3 Pflueger President reels. We have the size 20, 25, and the 30. The model on these is the PRESSP 20X, 25X, and 30X. So they all have the same gear ratio, and that's 5.2 to 1. The size 20 has 7 ball bearings, whereas the others in the series, the 25, the 30, 35, and I think the 40, all have 10 ball bearings. The max drag is rated at 6 pounds on the 20, 8 pounds on the 25, and 10 pounds on the 30. Now I'm going to use 6-pound test as the monocapacity. Now these are all stats that come from the manufacturer of Pflueger. Okay, so in 6-pound test line mono yards, they're looking at 80 yards, 90 yards, and 145 yards. You see, there's not a huge difference between the 20 and the 25, but you get a much bigger jump to the 30 rather. The recovery rate, that is, for every turn of the handle, how much line comes in. Over here on the 20, we're looking at 20.2 inches. 25 is going to give you 22.4 inches, and the 30 will give you 25.3 inches. The weight per the manufacturer is 6.2 ounces on the 20, 7.5 on the 25, and 8.8 on the 30. Now, I'm not saying that their scale is wrong, but I will go ahead and put these on a scale just so we can all take a look together. Okay, so there's the size 20. Comes in right at 6.4. Size 25 is going to come in at 7.6. And they have it at 7.5, close enough. And then the size 30 they have for 8.8 ounces, and we get 8.9. So we're really close there. When that's 90, it goes down to 8. Yeah, anyway. So we're real close on that, and again, that may very well just be my scale being my scale. Okay, so the reason I'm doing this video is I've been curious about these reels. I've used the Pflueger President several times, many times I should say. I've had a lot of these size 20 reels. I had one of the size 20, so when you spin it, it should spin a few times, like so, and it did not. It was very, very tight. So I returned that and actually got a size 25 reel. As you may have seen in one of the shorts I did, it was missing a screw on the inside, and the entire spool assembly and shaft came out. So I returned that. Unfortunately, they were out of the size 25. So I had to get a size 30, which is not a bad deal in and of itself, because that way I get to compare the 3 sizes. I had looked on YouTube and I couldn't find anything that compared the 3 sizes. So just to give you an idea of what we're looking at here. So I did some measurements using this caliper from Win, and what I did was I measured the interior of the spool. So I'll show you here. So this measurement here, the actual diameter of the spool with no line on it. So like this one comes in at 8.07, and then I also went at the top of it. Now understand, not sure if you can see it, but there is a difference in color here, and that kind of gives you an idea of where you want the line to stop. You need to give it about 1/8 of an inch lip. But so we went up here and we also did this number. So the full width of the top of the spool. And that comes out to about 1.4. And that's on the size 20. Now on the size 25, spool isn't that much bigger. Like we talked about, the line capacity is very similar. 10 more yards of 6-pound test. So come out to 1.31. And I'm going to reference some numbers. These are ones I'd written down previously when I did this measurement. So it's going to be a little different. If the numbers don't jive exactly, that's why. And then we're looking at about 1.49 roughly. So it gives you about 0.09 difference in this number, the full diameter of the outer edge of the spool. Now on the inside of the spool, a little over 0.2 difference. So this has a thicker starting point than the 20. Now the size 30, let's see what we got here. 1.126. And then come up here to the full spool, 1.733. Okay. Now, I wanted to bring in a few other reels just for comparison. Okay. There's not a lot that I can tell you extra about the Pflueger Present. They're a well-respected reel. They're great for panfish in the size 20 and 25, and then up in the 30s and beyond. You know, you can get into bass and even larger species than that. But these are basically good for catching panfish, bait fish, however you want to go with that. So I wanted to bring out some other reels I had, and that is the Sienna by Shimano Sienna 500, 1000, and then the Daiwa Regal LT 1000. And the interesting part, I don't know how well it's going to show on video, but you really can't put line past right where my line ends. So all this lip, it's angled very high, and of course it would overfill the spool, and it's a little close to being overfull as is. So that measurement, this measurement right here, is not terribly useful because that's really not the diameter of the line, or when it's full of, once it has all the lines. So we'll go with this measurement here. That comes out to 1.3550, which puts it just slightly larger, or slightly smaller. So, you know, if you filled it a little bit fuller, you'd be about on range with the size 20 President. Again, we're looking at, you know, 1.36 versus 1.40, somewhere in there. So it's very similar as far as the actual diameter of the spool with it full of line as opposed to this lip up here. So when you look at it side by side, you're like, wait, the Sienna looks much larger, and it's really not. It's just that extra lip that the President doesn't have. Okay. Now we'll go and we'll look at the size 1000 of the Sienna. Now this one doesn't have that huge taper like the 500 does. So this is going to be a more reasonable comparison here. Let's shove that up. So 1.53 roughly. And the size 25 President was 1.54. So again, we're real close there. Very similar in size. Okay. Now, what I did want to note, so this is the Daiwa Regal LT 1000. Again, this one's got a fairly significant lip there. So I'm going to go right in about where the line is full here. Maybe just a little hair over. But we're looking at needing to re-zero it. Sorry about that. Okay, let's get back in here. So about 1.5. Yep, it's zeroed. Okay, my jaws are being a little... No, it really isn't that much larger. 1.4. So, when you're looking at these two reels, now again, you've got a kind of a significant lip there, and it's similar on both. So let's actually, because of the lip being similar, let's go with the 1.5260 versus, so it's just a hair larger at 1.57. So again, the size 25 is going to be close to your size 1000 in most other reel manufacturers. The size 20 is more like a 500 size. Again, comparing again with the Shimano Sienna 500. Now, the Shimano Sienna 500, when I bought them, I haven't checked prices lately, they were about a $30, $35 reel. I don't care for them personally. I do love Shimano as a brand. They make fine, fine reels. However, these, I have a lot of trouble with the bail. When I go to cast, it tends to close on me, or I find a spot where I try to open it and it doesn't stay open, because there's a certain spot on all reels where it's pushing the bail closed, and I just seem to find that a lot on these Siennas. So they're not my favorite reels, but they are a good budget-minded reel. The Regal LT, again, last time I checked prices, you were in the $60 to $70 range, and that is on par with the President series. I believe all of them at Academy are at $69.99. Bass Pro will give you a $10 discount to $59.99 on the size 20. And again, this one has 7 ball bearings versus 10. The Daiwa LT, I believe, is a 10 ball bearing system. I really like the Daiwa. Now this one's obviously been used. You see, it has a lot more spinning of the handle. Once you just spin it around and let it go, you don't have quite that much. But again, these are new reels. They haven't been used a lot, so they're not loosened up a little bit. But I just wanted to compare the three sizes, give you a comparison in other brands of reels, because they have their own sizing, like say with the 20, the 25, the 30, etc. They are good reels. Like I said, I've got probably 3 or 4 of these, 3 of these, and 1 of these, so 7 or 8 of these. Add the 2 that I've had to return, so I had 10. 2 of them were problematic. Now the one with the spool that came out, big deal. It is literally 1 screw inside the body that does that, but the screw wasn't even in there. It just got out of quality control without being correct. So that's kind of a comparison of the 3 sizes of the Pflueger President PRESSP model, the 20X, the 25X, and the 30X. Thanks for watching, everybody. Until next time, I'll see you out on the water.